A few years ago, former Liverpool defender Jamie Carragher tried taking Gary Neville to the cleaners by stating that no young footballer ever aspires to grow up as a fullback. However, given the fact that the former Manchester United man had a trophy-laden career and enjoyed at least 15 years of dominance in his role, Carragher's light-hearted jibe couldn't be further from the truth. What's up everyone, I hope you've been enjoying our daily videos on Goalside. If this is your first time, make sure to click on the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you never miss out on any of the good stuff ever again. Today's video is about former Brazil international Cafu, the role he played in the evolution of a modern fullback, and how tragedy struck him when he least expected it. Now you must be wondering why it is that we always ask you to watch the full video. Well, great content is one thing, football is another thing, and then there's this little case of a gift card we give out every day. And to our regular viewers, how about you let the new members of the clan know why they need to watch the full video in the comment section. Now that we've stoked your interest, let's get back to the task at hand. When you say fullback, what comes to your mind? The sheer creative brilliance of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Alphonso Davies' speed that would make the Flash proud, or the ability to make it hard for wingers to put in a decent cross like Aaron Wan-Bissaka? What about that time when the likes of Carlos Alberto and Marinho Chagas made a mockery of wingers down the flanks in the 1970s? And how can we ever forget the brilliant moments provided to us by the likes of Maicon, Dani Alves and Marcelo? We'd be remiss not to mention the juggernaut that was Roberto Carlos, a man whose left foot was as fearsome as a rhinoceros running at full speed to tackle a predator. But if we talk about the one fullback who changed our whole perspective on the role, it would be the man who became Brazil's most capped male footballer ever. Cafu was born in 1970, a year in which Brazil totally dominated everything in football. The Seleção were a joy to watch, and Cafu himself admits that his birth year inspired him to become a football player. Growing up, there was always something special about Cafu. It was surprising to know that the likes of Palmeiras and Santos chose against signing him, but Sao Paulo did see something in the precocious talent and snapped him up as an 18-year-old. At that time, Cafu was playing as a right-sided midfielder. The role allowed the youngster to tame his attacking instinct, but it was under the legendary Brazilian coach Tele Santana that made Cafu look at the game from a different lens. Cafu decided to become a right-back. An injury to first-choice right-back Zé Teodoro did play a role in that, but in the end, all of us go home happy, since we were able to witness the rise of one of the greatest ever footballers to play for Brazil. At the start, Cafu found it hard to fulfill his defensive responsibilities owing to his attacking nature. However, the youngster eventually settled in the role and in 1990 earned a surprise call-up to the national team. Cafu himself admits that he didn't enjoy playing as a fullback initially, but when he was called up to the senior team by Paulo Falcao, he understood why Santana changed his role. Representing the Seleção was more important than anything else. In 2 years, Cafu matured into one of the finest fullbacks in the world, guiding Sao Paulo to the Intercontinental Cup, where they defeated Johan Cruyff's Barcelona to send reverberation around the footballing community. At the age of 24, Cafu had won pretty much everything in South America, but the youngster wasn't there yet. His crossing still left a lot to be desired, but that was masked by his ability to make dangerous overlapping runs. When there was a need, he would even play as a midfielder, and it was this versatility that earned him a spot in the 1994 World Cup, where he featured as an understudy to Jorginho, who was in the form of his life at Bayern Munich. After making 3 bench appearances, Cafu would end up featuring heavily in the final after Jorginho got injured in the first 20 minutes of the game. Cafu would help the team keep a clean sheet as Brazil went on to win the World Cup on penalties. His performance in the final earned Cafu his first move to Europe at Real Zaragoza. Sadly though, it was not a move that would work out. The youngster had to fight for a place in the starting 11, with Alberto Belsué and injuries keeping him off the pitch for quite some time. Cafu would return to Brazil to play for Juventude, where he would go on to rebuild his career after a minor hiccup. In 1997, Cafu, alongside Ronaldo, Romario and Leonardo, strolled to yet another Copa America title. After putting in more sensational displays, Cafu once again earned a move to Europe, this time at AS Roma, where he would be able to shine as the capital giants had the perfect coach whose ideals complemented the Brazilians' talents. Roma coach Zdenek Zeman loved to see his fullbacks making darting runs and cause chaos in the opposition half, and now he had Cafu to take things to another level. Zeman had a rather apathetic attitude towards defensive duties and preferred giving Cafu freedom to express himself on the pitch. We did do some defensive drills, but tactically they were shocking. Our offside trap was set almost in the middle of the pitch. It was suicide. Zeman didn't care and wanted us to play like that in league matches. Following the 1998 World Cup tragedy, Cafu would play under Fabio Capello at Roma. The first season the Romans could only wince as their bitter rivals won the Serie A title. The following year, however, they would earn a well-deserved Scudetto. This was an amazing attacking outfit that saw the likes of Francesco Totti, Vincenzo Montella and Gabriel Batistuta turn on the show and deny Juventus the title by a mere 2 points. This was also the season where Cafu transitioned into a wing-back and became an integral part of Capello's plans. With great speed and intelligent runs, Cafu would carve a reputation as one of the finest fullbacks Italy has ever seen. Following the title win, Roma would spend a lot of money to sign Walter Samuel and Emerson. However, it was once again Cafu who would be the vital cog in the team. The game against Lazio, where he made Pavel Nedved look like an amateur following a triple sombrero, drove the crowd into hysteria. We don't remember any fullback doing that to an elite midfielder. In 2002, Roma ended up losing their title to Juventus by a mere point. That was down to the capital club's failure to turn draws into wins. Even though they'd lost fewer games, 13 draws sealed their fate. Despite that, Cafu and company were eye-catching to say the least. Following the disappointing end to the Serie A season, Cafu was given the captain's armband and a responsibility to ensure Brazil become the first champions of the new millennium. Under the guidance of Luis Felipe Scolari, Cafu would end up lifting the World Cup trophy for the second time in his career as Ronaldo turned on the show in South Korea and Japan. Cafu played every second of the campaign and his experience ensured that the young team didn't lose its way. Alright then, this time the $100 Amazon gift card question is going to be a little bit difficult and might require you to look at our playlist. Can you tell us which former teammate of Cafu at AC Milan we discussed in one of our recent videos? With another World Cup in the bag, there was just one thing missing: the Champions League. Cafu ended up joining AC Milan in 2003, where he would win the showpiece event against Bayern Munich in 2007, while helping himself to a domestic title as well. In a team that boasted the likes of Paolo Maldini, Alessandro Costacurta and Filippo Inzaghi, they strolled to what seemed like a routine win in a Champions League final. In 2006, Cafu's wife, Regina, was accused of falsifying documents to claim Italian nationality through Italian descent. An Italian prosecutor called for the Brazilian's imprisonment, but the very next day, Cafu, his wife and agents were cleared of any wrongdoing. However, there were still certain rumours that persisted around Cafu's career. In 2010, Cafu and several other Serie A players were accused to have forged their passport in order to find a way around the non-European player ruling in Italian football. Those charges were eventually dropped. Il Pendolino, as he was often called by die-hard Roma fans, was in a class of his own. At a time when more attention was given towards attacking players, the Brazilian would carve out his own path and became the trailblazer for a modern-day fullback. While the likes of Dani Alves, Maicon and Marcelo are seen as legends in Brazil, how far these three would have gone had Cafu's first coach, Santana, not made the bold decision to change his young charge's position.